All right, so I'm back in Maya, and now it's time that we actually apply that texture file to our model. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is just turn off my checkerboard preview. I'm just using that to help you guys understand the concepts. So I'm just going to click this, go to textures, and just uncheck checker map. So I have my model. I'm in the Stingray PBS shader, so just keep that in mind that I've assigned a new material to this. I don't want to use Lambert in this case. I want to use that Stingray shader. I can go ahead and collapse this UV toolkit, and I'll leave the UV editor on for now. And I'm going to open up the attribute editor on the side. Whenever I open up the attribute editor, I can select the material that I'm using. So I'm using my cube material 2, which is that Stingray material I applied earlier. And we're going to make some edits here. To get to this easily, I can right-click on my model and say Material Attributes, and that'll jump me right to my material. Especially if you have a more complicated model, it may have tons of different attributes, so we'll just hop right there to Cube Material 2. So I'm on my material, and under the Attributes window, we've been playing with the base color and things like that. We have these checkboxes, and we're going to be using the Color Map checkbox. Whenever I check that, my model's going to go dark, and what's happening is now in this little Textures drop-down window over here, we can assign a file for our color map. So this is really easy to do, and Stingray makes this much simpler than it used to be. I simply click the little checkerboard right here next to color map, and whenever I do that, it's going to bring up a file, and it's going to ask me to go find a file. And if my project is set up correctly, whenever I hit this button, it should immediately take me to my source images folder. So I'm going to hit that, and it took me to my source images folder, and I have this TIFF file that we exported in the last video. I select it, and I say open, and now it's applied that texture file to my model. So I can see that great texture that I made in Photoshop, and I say great sarcastically because obviously there's a lot of problems with it, but I can see that now wrapped around my model. So now I can see my great texture that I've made, and it's properly applied to my model, and if I save it, we're good to go. So keep that in mind, that everything should be in the proper folders, in the source images folders, and so on. In future videos, we're going to get into using these other texture maps, such as a normal map, to create extra detail on our model where that detail may not necessarily exist.